Oh my god, I finally did it. I made my first YouTube video. Hello, fellow travelers of the YouTube universe. Thanks for stopping by. My name is Christian, aka Little Divine. I'm here to be a presence in your life, to share my vibration while we hang out, and I show you what I'm up to. For my first video, I was inspired out of self-sabotage by this lovely person named Emily. She has a YouTube channel called Beige Flannel, where she uploads videos of art, interior design, and bric and brac. In her videos, she dresses up her vanity chair with paper mache shoes, which inspired me to play with paper mache. I decided to document it in video, as I normally just post on my private Instagram. To get started, I grabbed a big bucket with some hot water. I found some recyclables that I could use. They did not break easily. They soaked for 1 hour and then they look like this. So I ended up having to bust out the old hand mixer, which worked wonderful. That's what it looked like. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Only took about 20 seconds. I used a strainer with this because I knew that the particles would be small. This ended up just being perfect. Hi everyone. So I just did a bunch of stuff with this recycled egg carton, and they were drink cozies or whatever they're called. And I'll show what I did in pictures. I just decided to record because, I don't know, I was inspired. But this is the raw product of what I'm going to make paper mache out of. It's really satisfying to know that you're reusing something that's already been used so many times. So, and give it another life. I didn't want to, I was very hesitant in using this because I find that that recycled stuff, it kind of smells like toilet paper. I've decided that I'm going to do a project, and I was inspired, and I just want to take you on this little journey because it's going to be fun for me. So, might as well take you with me. It's something that, I wish I did more of. And this will help me keep me motivated to complete it, because I often find, like most crafters, we don't realize how long everything really takes, because a lot of the times it's the first time that we do stuff, and so there's always a big learning curve with everything, right? And I'm not fast, and I don't like being fast. I like just taking my time because make some art, because I really feel it's important that we all cultivate the energy of creativity, aka creation. It is our right, and we have access to it. And it's a wonderful energy. It's very powerful, very potent. And I find if I can harvest some of it for myself so I could use it to just, have a better life, be happier. We'll see how it goes, because I've only harvested it so many times, and I feel like it has sustained me for so long. And not that I'm feeling like I'm depleted in this energy, but I do feel like I could use more. And I do feel guided to cultivate more, because I need it for something that I'm about to do. And so I'm taking you with me. I'm very loyal. I'm very obedient. And I will follow what I'm being told what to do, because from my experience, they know what they're doing more than I do, because they got that bigger picture. And by they, I mean spirit guys. I'm talking about your spirit guides, your ancestors. They're all rooting for you, and they're trying to communicate with you. And this is just a form of one of them. So look at that. I got raw product. The strainer worked really well because it caught all of the residuals that the larger strainer I knew that some of it would go through, but like this is a perfect setup. Like when I put it in here, it fit exactly the amount. And that's how I know I'm doing something that Spirit likes, because everything works out perfectly and it's incredible. Even the pot that I used to catch the excess water, it filled exactly the amount of water that I had filled the original tub to do this project, which was like none of it even spilt over. So it just, you know, it makes me feel good. I like that kind of validation. I've been asking for a lot of it because I've been on the fool's path, and the fool's path, you know, you don't get the details, friends. You just have to trust, and that's the whole point of it, because I believe it's a base coat. It's kind of like a foundation to opening up your psychic abilities. And by the way, I used this guy here. I love this because I know that, you know, some people would be against using the stuff that they use for food on crafts, but this is just like paper. But also, because it cleans up so well, I'm not worried that I'm going to contaminate it or something. And it worked so fast. It was so quick. I think I did it for maybe a minute. And I had soaked it for an hour, not on purpose, but I went to go do other stuff. And when I came back, it didn't pull apart the way that I thought that it would. So anyways, I'm going to go get my glue and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back and I put that much glue. I just eyeballed it. That's how I do a lot of things. I am a cook, so not professionally, but I've been cooking for a long time. So this was brand new, I didn't realize. So I probably used like that much, guys. I don't know how much that is. It's 950 milliliters. And I used that much, and I'm just eyeballing it. So this is, you know, don't worry about fudging it up. Like, you know, just add less. That's the rule. So I'm going to mix this, and I have a little glass of water there. So because I know that you have to mix it in with a little bit of water because you don't want pure glue. You want to be able to mold it and not it be so tacky. So I'm going to mix it, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I'm back. I probably should have, eventually I will figure out how to anchor this camera. I don't have anything to hold cameras and stuff, but that, like, guys, I did this for less than 10 seconds and that went in pretty easily. Now I want to be able to mold this and then do its job. It doesn't appear that I will need any water, because I believe that I didn't squeeze out all the water from the paper, because I knew that I was going to need some of it anyways, and it didn't have to be completely dry, so it didn't make sense. So like, that's holding its shape, and I don't really care for, like, you know, see when I'm crunching it like that? Hold on. It shouldn't be doing the texture thing that it's doing right now. So I want it to like be a little bit smoother. I don't want to have to go around and kind of mush it around, because I did blend this quite a bit so that I could have a smoother finish. Later on, when I'm done whatever I'm doing, I am going to sand it, because I do want to play with texture as well. So when I added it in, it pretty much went in, but I can tell that some of it is, it feels like as soon as I touch it, it's more wet, whereas the stuff that actually has it, you can feel like a little bit of sliminess, which is nice. So just gonna look away, because I don't need too much. And because this it didn't take long, there's no point of turning the camera off. I think the only thing that was really the difference there was I'm just so used to doing everything without a camera, so I didn't want to be holding a camera. I really want to get into stuff here. So I'm just going to look away from the phone because I'm trying to do something here. So this feels really nice. So if you're one of those texture people that like slime, you're going to be into this. This is very much fulfilling me. All right, so that's let's do a test. Let's do a little squish. And let's do a little rub. See, that's still, it's very dry-ish. So I think it needs a little bit more water. I may actually add water instead of more glue because I find that it has the bind that it's going to need when it dries up. So I don't want to make it take longer to do its thing. So here is my squish, and then I'm going to break it. Yeah. And let's pretend that I'm molding. I mean, I think that's going to do it, but I feel like it needs to be slimier. I don't know. I'm going to add a little bit of water. So Gotta use the old intuition there. There's a feeling when you add, when you're cooking, you just know when enough is enough. And you know, there's also the rule of thumb, add less. Oh, yeah, boo-boo. Oh, wow. That absorbs so quickly. Well, what do you expect? It's paper. Yeah, I'm checking here. It's doing the same thing when I touched it and it was paper, you know, so it's losing its sliminess. But I feel like it needs to be wetter, so I'm going to do it. I'm just going to... Oof. More water. I'm going to do the rest. I bet you the amount that I poured out in that cup, and I used hot water too because I wanted to, you know, hot water is always best for mixing. So why not? Oh, that definitely feels like what I want. Yeah. That feels good. That feels like it's not too dry, because that was the problem, is it just felt too dry. So when I would be sculpting with it, I would be afraid that it would break, you know, if it was too heavy, and then it would just disconnect on me. And I need it to be slimy enough that when I, you know, rub on it to like make something smooth, that it keeps its shape. And then if there's like a gap, I can just press it or even fill it. See, that's fine. Let's do the squish test. Okay, and then the rub test. Forgive me if it's not sharp. I'm trying to figure that shit out. Yeah, it's kind of like... Oh my god, my tummy grumbled because I haven't eaten dinner. And I was thinking, oh, I wonder if the camera will pick that up. And then as soon as I had that thought, my dog started grumbling or growling because he thought, he thinks it's like somebody outside. So I just added a little bit more glue. I'm hoping that that's enough. So far, from what I see, the line is right there. So... mind you, this is a lot of modeling clay, so, you know, this will definitely do the project that I'm going for. And from what I'm understanding, like, you have to build the structure with other things like foil or whatever you have to kind of build a frame. So a lot of people use tin foil, something that you can manipulate easily. Some people use sticks, straws, string, things like that. And then you put this on top of it and build around it. That's why it's important that you're able to smooth it out a little bit. So I'm just going to give this a couple more squishes. I'm definitely going to get some kind of tripod because I need both of my mitts And it would be nice to like get in there. Oh, see, and I'm not even paying attention, girl. So, I almost called you girl. I called everybody girl. Okay. I remember I accidentally called this man that I worked with, who was like in his 60s, very straight, and I called him girl. While I was talking to him, and I was like, oh shit, I just called him girl. And he's not, you know, type of person that you would call girl. See how smooth that's going? Like, look at that. Boop, 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 boom. Look at me moving it around. Boop, 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 rebuilding. Okay, let's do the test. It feels good. It feels like, like the perfect dog shit, you know? Nice and soft. A little wet on the outside. You see how I break it? It kind of squished. I mean, I feel like I can work with this. This is great. Yeah, I like that. So that's it. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to work with that. And then I'll show you what ends up happening with whatever I make. Okay, bye. So next I had to find inspiration in what I wanted to do. And I knew that I wanted to do a mushroom. And so I had to look up for sceneries and what would a mushroom look like, because it's small and so everything else around it would be bigger, and whether I wanted a night scene and a day scene, and you know, all those things. So all these images are what inspired me to give me kind of a rough idea. And so once I had that, I decided to just pencil it in. So I quickly penciled it in, just a rough idea, so I knew where to allow paint to hit or not. I decided just to do the background first in case it messed up something, you know, because sometimes when you do backgrounds, you want to stick to the same lines, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. So I made a few mistakes here. I forgot that when you do blend, you want to paint the background like a color, like white, and then just to let it sit for a little bit, to dry just a little bit, like maybe 10 minutes, and then you would drip it over with colors, and it blends so much easier.